everything is about balance. You know, the moment that we are balanced, we have everything at least in our own way. I mean, the balance for you may be different than the balance for me, because we have different experiences, different understandings, but at the same time we are trying to achieve a certain balance that is achievable at that moment, at that given time, and we're able to use to advance in our situations. This is the wheel of well-being. The wheel is, you know, a tool for movement. It's something that needs to be balanced. And if our wheel is not balanced, then we got to find out where this spoke is different, adjusted, or the air is less. So we got to come to that sense of balance by checking ourselves. Imagine balance is like a ring, but joy is the crown, is that jewel that sits on top of the ring. Once we have well-being, once we have really concentrated on our mental, emotional, physical, relational, educational, financial, environmental, and our spiritual. There are 8 areas to our well-being, and once we can visualize this wheel that has these 8 spokes with each one of these attributes, then we can find out where this imbalance is, and we can focus on that.
A little bit about my background, like who I am today, is because of everything that I've experienced in my life, right? I used to think that forgiveness when I was young. I swore the man hit us, a drunk driver, hit our family. And I swear I would never forgive him. It was the hardest thing I had to ever come through. But through when these hard times come, that's what really helps to form our soul, for strength and for the beauty of who we are. And my life now is about celebration, celebrating what makes me unique as a woman, you know, in my body, in my spirit, what makes me unique, and celebrating you, what makes you unique. There's nobody else like you on the planet. We're like snowflakes. We all look very similar, but there's so many vast, intricate details that make you so unique. Celebrate it. The Arnold C. Yoder Survivors Foundation is the name. I named it after my father. And our mission is to help children. And this Wheel of Wellbeing is our home, our first home here. And the support groups are going to be formulated starting here. We're doing our outreach now. And Patricia, she's the director of our first brand impressions. So we're growing, and thanks to Dr. Sadiq and his vision and coming on board as a board of directors with the organization, and your kind heart and your giving. Thank you.
To form the Paki for 2 reasons. One reason, one way or another, all of us are minority in this country. All of us have our own issue, our own culture, and one of the reasons for Paki, it was to learn our own taboo, to learn our own shortcoming, to also learn about our own positive things about our culture we brought from all over the world. For the minority to learn, they do need to have their own cancer society. Exactly what you see over there as a bone marrow. As a Middle Eastern, as being a Persian, when you get a leukemia or you need the transplant, your bone marrow transplant, you very easily you could get from your own culture, your own people. Iranian, because they've been invaded so many times over and over, our blood is a bit difficult to get it from others. So I find it necessary we need to have our own bank, same as every other minority. Thank you. Thank you. Right now, we are about 7,000, which I'm so proud, and Paki is only 3 years old. So any of you haven't registered, please participate. If you register, please participate and get your friends to do it. Now let's go back to the cancer. Honest to God, is only a disease. And if you really face with it, right on, early detection saves lives. If you find it early, you will cure. 95% of the breast cancer or other cancer or a prostate cancer is curable if you know where to go, what to do. So the job of a PACI is first to teach early detection save life. The second job of a PACI, navigation, to teach you what you need. You do need to have a second opinion. You do need to go to the right person. You do need to ask.
The information that I'm going to teach you about today is the information that you're getting right now from your body. The best source of information are your senses. And it's going on right now as we speak, in your feet, in your butt, in your hands, in your breath, and in your heartbeat. You can actually feel that. And you get up in your 60s, you have a whole lot of people that are getting hip and knee replacements and shoulders and things. You know. So there's ways to do that that are going to support your health and well-being long into your life, and it requires paying a little bit of attention to it, right? Because they're ruining their knees, their hips, their joints. But there's a wonderful book that's been out a couple years. It's called Born to Run. It's my favorite book. I'm in my third reading of it, and it's about the people who run 100 miles or more, the ultramarathons. And yet by the third time I'm reading it, I'm beginning to understand stuff that they do that the rest of us don't. The Tarahumara Indians of Mexico and the Kenyans, and everybody knows the Kenyans, when they run different than we do. Their heels never touch the ground. Human beings are the only animals on the planet that think they're supposed to put pressure on their heels. And you can hear people walk like that. All your weight is coming down from your heel and going up through your knee and your hips. And that's going to wear out your knee and hips eventually. This is really strange. I know it's weird. This is like new stuff we're talking about. So it's one of the healthiest ways to walk is the same way these guys run. And it looks strange. You'll recognize it. But if you stay on the ball of your foot, your knees never lock, your hips never lock, your whole body becomes a spring. And you can run for 20 hours like this and not wear out your joints. People do it on a regular basis.
Holistic nutrition. It's one of my passions. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world to talk about. I am nerdy about food. I am nerdy about clean food. I love farmers markets. I take people to farmers markets as much as I can. I educate people about pesticides and toxins and what's in that packaged food as much as humanly possible, because I think it does lead to more devastating outcomes like the PACI Society really has to deal with on their end. I think it has an amazing energy. What you put in your body, what nourishes you, I think becomes how you connect to people. I think it becomes how you see the world. I think it becomes what you think is possible in the world. I think it becomes who you are. It builds your cells. How could it not be who you are? And so what I do very passionately is counsel people and coach people into a more holistic lifestyle. It's more about really exploring what nourishes you and what brings you closer to the earth. And I think chemical-free foods really does that. So that's that.
Over the last year, we have been transforming our lives through drinking natural juices, eating raw and living foods, and going through a process of detoxification. Now we have an ebook. You can see it on our table. We have about 30 recipes that we show you how to juice fast. And Jennifer's a chef, so she integrated a lot of her knowledge into this company. And I'm looking at the psychology connection between eating foods and changing patterns. And that's basically what we're doing. We're presenting a detox program.
We want people to make small changes in their lives that will reopen the body in places where it's stuck when it comes to food and habit. Because we all have these interesting habits we get into, and that's kind of where we work. We're working on food choices and how certain foods make you feel versus how certain foods don't make you feel so great, and your psychological relationship to that, as well as giving you solid cooking or uncooking techniques?
We're mostly using raw and living foods, so everything is fresh from the vine. It's as organic as possible, and most of the food, about 90% of the food is not cooked. So we're showing you how to make extremely delicious food that hasn't been altered, and it's enzyme rich. So that's what we want to help our clients and help everyone learn how to eat these types of foods, which are just so easy to do. And that's what we're trying to educate people on.
I teach a form of self-hypnosis because I really believe in empowerment. I believe that you guys don't need to rely on somebody who does therapeutic techniques for the rest of your life to be joyful. I don't think that's true at all. And so I teach self-hypnosis because I want people to have a tool that they can take with them after. And the self-hypnosis that I teach is like an antivirus software for the mind. It goes in and it scavenges the mind and gets out all of the stuff that isn't helping you in your life, right? And there's lots of that stuff because what happens is we all have a lot of feelings that we don't deal with, right? Did you guys know that you have a guidance system and that your guidance system is your feelings? Did you guys know that? That your feelings aren't some freak of nature? It's not a mistake that you get sad and get tearful or that you get angry. You're not a bad person because you feel that way. That's there on purpose. It's there to motivate you to do the sometimes difficult things you need to do to satisfy your needs, wants, and desires. When you're mad, it's there to motivate you to get fairness. Okay? When you're sad, it's there to motivate you to replace whatever it is you perceive that you've lost. It's about loss. Okay? And each of the emotions have a reason behind them. This universe has reason. There's a reason behind everything, right? And so it's not a mistake. But you guys didn't know that. The majority of the world didn't. We're not even taught to celebrate our feelings. We're taught like, oh, here, have a cookie, when you're feeling sad. People put pacifiers in kids' mouths and tell them, oh, don't cry, even if they're being kind. And then there's the mean ones that go, I'll give you something to cry about, right? And we don't accept emotion. So what happens is it doesn't go away. It just gets bigger. That signal inside of you that's telling you to do something just gets louder. But you don't know that, and you still don't know what to do about it, and so you just keep living life. And next thing you know, you've got a storm inside of you. And that's why it's hard to feel joyful. So what my work is about is clearing out the storm. The self-hypnosis I teach is about clearing out the storm.
Acupuncture is a natural way to heal the body as a whole person, not to treat the body as separate parts. Experiencing acupuncture enjoy physical, emotional, and mental health all in one level. It gets you a healthy body, a joy heart, and a calm mind.
This book actually is sort of talking about, in general sense, everything we have talked about today. In some ways, we are what we think, eat, and do. So our mind sort of controls every aspect of our life, and what we think and eat is what we become. So in essence, the book talks about these 8 aspects of us, and these are 8 chapters in the book. It essentially goes from health to happiness to success. Now, the idea is to have an optimal balanced life for emotional and physical well-being. Once we have achieved that, we all more or less are doing everything we can to seek joy. And that is achievable once we have learned how to bring our body in a well-being state. So all these different modalities, knowledge, all they lead to is well-being, which essentially is leading us to a path of joy.
Why some people are getting so emotional? For example, me by myself, I'm getting easily to be cry, and most of the time I'm joyless at my life too. It's because of just that trait.
Well, you're saying most of the time you're joyless?
Yes.
It might be an easier question for Dr. Sadiq to answer. But
Our experience, the past experience, as Professor Single said, the first 3 years are certain set points, although we can always go back and try to remedy them. After the 3 years experiences, if they are similar, if they are more difficult, then those first intelligence that we have becomes more solid. So if it's negative, if it's sad, if it's anxious, that gets more solid through ages if experiences are similar.
So if I were to work with you, what I would do is bring up that feeling and follow it back and find the root cause and shift it at the root and then bring the new perspective through all the other times that happened before, reinforcing it.
And how long is the process to recover?
Everybody's a little bit different because my sessions aren't scripted, but it's typically about 5 sessions.
When I find myself in places like that where I'm like, wow, all these emotions, wow, I know I can feel so deeply. I try to think of it as kind of like when we help people do detox. Kind of like, okay, this is my opportunity to look. This is an opportunity to take on what I'm reacting to, slow it down, get intimate with myself and my body and say, wow, what's going on? You know? What can I offer you so you can heal through this? What is this pain or this anger or this frustration that's rising when my hormones change? You know? And let me look a little deeper. This is my opportunity to look in this mirror and say, what is there? Instead of being like, God, I hate when I'm like this. What's wrong with me? I wish I would just be normal. I'm upset again, you know? And instead of beating ourselves up, take it on and start to look, and maybe having a wonderful qualified professional like this lady over here to help guide you through that, you know, that looking, the investigation, instead of resisting and running or turning from it, you know.